Okay, coaches, so now you're going to move your team into a very, very important phase of your practice, and that is teaching defense. Oftentimes with this age group, you'll see some coaches that want to go zone or set their kids up in a specific area and tell them to guard an area. But it's very, very important for you as a coach to teach your kids how to play man-to-man defense. There are many reasons why. First of all, it's more difficult. As they matriculate up through the ranks as a basketball player, their coaches are going to want to see that they understand how to execute proper man-to-man defensive principles. Also, we believe as a coach that teaching man-to-man reinforces important life skills. We're talking about communication, working hard, helping out your teammates, and things like that. All these things are incorporated into good man-to-man defense. It's not easy to teach. It takes time and repetition, and it takes a good coach who understands the small things that go into putting into a defensive philosophy, but also the big picture. We're going to cover all those things in this defensive session. The first phase of defense is our on-the-ball defense. I'm going to have Coach Watson step in as the offensive player as I demonstrate good on-the-ball defense. All right, the first thing that we want to really emphasize with our players is a stance. Our feet are spread, 4 things to a stance. Our hips are low, our back is straight, and our eyes are up. Usually we want our palms up, outside of our knees, applying good hand pressure, but most importantly, understanding to stay between their man and the basket. Of course, the closer the ball is to the basket, the more dangerous this player is. So the further we are from the basket, the more of a cushion we want to give the offensive player. The typical rule that you as a coach would want to give your players is to be 1 arm's length away from the basketball. So let's go through our stance in review. Feet are spread, hips are down, back is straight, eyes are up. I'm 1 arm's length away, all right? And my palms are up outside of my knees. I'm ready to read and react to the offensive player's movement. If the offensive player decides to drive to his right, I would step with my lead foot and I would try to move my body so that I'm always between the offensive player and the basket. If he tries to turn the corner and get closer to the basket, I want to move and really try to stop him from advancing to the basket, keeping the ball outside the paint away so that I can contest the jump shot and force a miss so we can get the rebound and transition back the other way. If the offensive player were to move in the other direction, I would execute the same principles. Once again, feet spread, hips down, stepping with my lead foot, keeping my head between his head and the basket. The 2 things that you really want to emphasize with your players as they play on the ball defense is you want them to pressure the ball. We don't want defenders staying all the way back here. It might be advantageous to the coach philosophically to have him sag that much, but we think it's important you teach this 1 arm's length away distance with our feet spread and our hips down, and at the same time making sure they understand they're going to pressure the ball. But the other word you really want to use for your kids is to contain the ball. That means keep the ball on the perimeter and away from the basket. That's on the ball defense. The off the ball defensive philosophy, there are 2 different philosophies that you as a coach can teach your kids. And this would be in the case of, let's get a good on the ball defender here. All right, this is Gabe. He's going to be on the ball, hands outside his knees, defending the ball here. And then the next person that could receive the pass would be Parker. So Parker, if you guys could back up just a little bit, might be using one of our passing drill techniques, which is the V-cut. So he might take his man down, and he might come back to catch the ball, okay? Before he catches the ball, let's get the ball back to Coach Watson. What should this defensive player be doing? Should he be on his man tight, all right? Should it be loose off of his man? Should it be between his man and the basket? All these questions your kids are going to want to know. It's your job as a coach to teach. The one philosophy we believe is really, really important for your players at this level to understand, one, what we call short pass away, is to be in what we call a ball, you, man position. Ball, you, man. You're going to use that phrase in practice. So they say to themselves, ball, me, or you, and man. We don't want to be in a position where we're ball, man, you. Because he can cut to the basket and receive a pass for a shot. Good. All right, put that in. Let's get the ball back to Coach Watson. This position here is also important because it's a position of help. If Coach Watson were to try to drive to the basket and coach moves and the on-ball defender loses his man for a moment, I can come in here and help my teammate and make sure the ball stays outside the paint. Okay, rewind. The reason that's important is, as important as it is for me to guard my man, philosophically, what you want your kids to understand is the ball is more important. So anytime the ball is making a threatening move to the basket, the on-ball defender should know that he or she has help. This position is what we call gap. I'm in the gap, this gap area, ready to play help my teammate, and also ready to go out and close out on my man. If this pass were to be made, and we're allowing this pass to be made, then I would close out on the ball. That means I give a high hand to distract the pass or a shot. Stay put for a minute, Parker. And then I get back into my head-on-head philosophy, on-ball defense, staying between my man and the basket. One thing that you can really emphasize for your kids is talking on defense. So in this case, since Kalani is on the ball and he's the ball defender, he would be saying to his teammates, ball, ball, ball. All right, communicating to his teammates that I've got the ball. This way, Gabriel, his teammate, knows that he doesn't need to help right now and he needs to be in gap position. So if the offensive player were to try to drive to the middle and Kalani lost his man, Gabe could help for a moment. Parker passed it up top to coach, and then Gabe would recover back and get in man position here. Palms up. Good. And now Kalani is in gap position right here. Opened up, pointing at the ball, pointing at his man, and seeing both. Now this is important. You notice how Kalani's trying to take a peek at the basketball. It's a common mistake. What he wants to do is look right between the basketball, so that he uses his peripheral vision to see both the ball and see man. All right, so step back in line here, Kalani, so we can teach the second phase here. This is very simple to do in a shell defensive situation like this, where we have a stationary man and a stationary basketball. But if our man were to move and step to the basket, stop right there for me a minute, I would have to move with him. If I failed to move with him, go ahead, Parker. Don't pass it for now, coach. But you can see I would lose my man. He would be open for a pass for a layup. Come on back here, Parker. So what we're going to do here, Parker's going to be here. I'm going to be in gap position. But if he steps inside, I would stop right there, Parker. I would stop and turn so that my rear end is to the ball, my hand is on the line. And Coach Watson, if you could roll the ball to Parker, this is the line, the passing lane or the passing line that me, as a defender, I have to guard. Roll the ball back to Coach Watson. The reason we roll the ball is we want the kids to see the line that you're referring to. All right, and that way, a penetrating pass, go ahead and make that pass to Parker, a penetrating pass could be deflected or stolen because we don't want the ball to approach the basket. Go back out, Parker. Parker were to go back out, I get back into my gap position. Now let's talk about the last phase of our defense really here, and that is if the ball is on the opposite side of the floor as our man. So let's go ahead and make this pass to Parker here. The ball comes to Parker. Kalani changes from gap to ball. Gabriel changes from ball to gap. Now, what do we do with this defender over here? Coaches, one of the really important parts of man defense is teaching your kids how to divide the floor in half. What that means is you have a ball side and then you have a help side. In this case, you have an offensive player with the basketball here. We have a head-on-head defender between his man and the basket. We have a gap defender ready to help, ready to recover back to his man if necessary. But the big question here is what should this defender be doing? One of the most common mistakes you'll see, coaches, is you told your team to play man-to-man defense, so she will go out and guard her man. All right, she will take you literally. This is my man, I'm going to guard my man. But what you really want to do a good job of teaching, coaches, is in man-to-man defense, the principle of helping each other out. And what a great principle that is. All your parents are gonna love you for teaching your kids, your players, how to incorporate within a basketball setting, helping each other out, okay? And what Keegan is doing here is she is in a help position, or what we call a triangle position, where she is making a triangle, pointing at ball, you, man. And so we've built our defense now with an on-ball defender, a gap defender, and now a triangle or a help defender. If the offensive player were, and I'll be you for a minute, if the offensive player, let me go for a minute, Kalani, were to go by Kalani here, all right, and Kalani was staying with me, go ahead, Kalani. This weak side defender would come over and help outside the paint and get between the ball and her man, and we would call this filling this area to the basket, and you see that top defender would sink down and take her place. So let's rewind and back that up. Good, I have the ball. Kalani, you're head on head with me. Face me, toes at me, good. We have gap, we have triangle, let me hear it, everybody. Get ball, ball, ball. Good, good. If I were to go here, Gabe would help and recover back to his man. Good, I would come back here. If I were to come baseline and beat my man, we would have help outside the paint, help here. Let's finish up our defensive drills by teaching this concept right now. Okay? Hands by your side. All right, you're playing Aiden, ball's here. These gap defenders are 1/3 the distance between their man and the basket, in the ball. The ball is passed, go ahead and pass the ball to Parker. Everybody shifts, hold the ball for a minute, Parker, in the direction of the ball. So the ball moves this way, our defense shifts to the ball. We have Gabriel, who's 1/3 the distance between his man and the basket, seeing both. We have Keegan down in our triangle position. She's halfway between her man and the basket. Let's get everybody talking. When I say the word pass, we'll pass the ball. Ready? Everybody's talking? Pass. Good. Good. In a stance. Pass. Good. And you see Kalani move to the ball. Wait for me to say pass, please. Good. Wait for me to say pass, Aiden. Triple threat position. Kalani's there. Nice and loud. Let me hear it. Ball, gap, triangle, pass. Good. We shift to the direction of the ball. We're seeing both. Pass. Good. Coaches, this is not easy to teach. Takes time, takes repetition, takes you being very clear in your communication with the kids on what you're looking for, and understanding that all the defenders here are working together. In this drill, we just used 3 defenders. But you could use the same drill with 5 defenders. All of them would understand that their position would be dictated by where the ball is and where their man is. Always communicating and always ready to adjust on the movement of the ball or the movement of their man. And this pretty much sums up our defensive philosophy. Again, it's something that you should be able to teach in your practices within this shell setting as you articulate clearly what it is you're looking for from the on-ball defender to the 1 short pass away to the 2 passes away and the help defender. So coaches, this concludes our basketball drills and skills and fundamental teaching session. We hope that you find these drills helpful as you go through the season, incorporating all the things that we've taught into your practice regimen.